In this video we are going to discuss about this dyes, synthetic dyes. So before going further, let us see the definition of dyes, right? So what is this dyes? So this definition I have written on the screen, which is visible to you, right? So a dye may be defined as it is a colored substance. First point, it should be a colored substance which when applied to fabrics it imparts a permanent color, and color is not removed by washing with water, soap or any exposed to light. So this is the basic definition of dyes, right? So let me give few examples, then if we go further you will get to know, right? So let us do that. So I will take one compound. See here, what is this? Can you name it? It is 2 4 6 trinitrophenol, right? So we call it as 2,4,6 trinitrophenol. So what is this? It is a dye. Before going further, we simply in common name we call it as picric acid, right? Picric acid, which you have seen. So this is also yellow in color, right? Yellow in color. I'll take one more example. What is this? Can you name it? Here CH3 is there, other position same NO2, NO2, NO2. So this is nothing but 2,4,6 trinitro right? So this is also yellow in color. But the thing is, this one, this picric acid is there, right? This which is yellow in color, we call it as dye. Whereas this trinitro toluene is there, right? This we won't call it as dye. This is not a dye, but it is also yellow in color. See, both are yellow color, but one we call it as dye and other is not a dye. So why it is so, right? So this is the thing I have to explain. So before going to reason this, let me give you the characteristics of dyes. Let us talk about some characteristics of dyes, right? So why one is dye, why other is not dye? This will answer that question. See, the first characteristic is this dye should have color. So above both are having yellow color. Picric also is having yellow color, and this 2,4,6 trinitro-toluene is also having other color. So the first condition is satisfied. So first condition is satisfied. So second condition, let us see. It should be able to fix itself on material from solution to be capable of being fixed on it. That means, see, here I have this fabric. When I apply this dye, it should get fixed permanently. It should get fixed. That's the second condition. And the third condition, let us see that. So these are the three characteristics, not conditions, but for understanding, if we understand like that, it will be better. So the characteristics are, first, dye should be color, second is it should attach to the fabric, and the third condition is it should resist the action of water or soap or light. So these are the three characteristics. So the above one, see here, this picric acid is there, right? We call it as dye because first it has got color, it will fix with the fabric, that is cloths, and the third one, it is resistance to water, soap and light. If we treat that with water or with soap with light, it will be stable, so we call it as dye. Whereas this 2,4,6 trinitro-toluene is there, right? It is also yellow in color, no doubt, but the problem is it is not resistant to water, soap and light, because of which we call it is not a dye, right? I hope you understood. So these are the basic things you should know. One is definition, and the second thing is characteristic of dyes, and few examples. The one example I have given you, that is picric acid, 2,4,6 trinitrophenol. I hope it's clear to you. Then we shall classify these dyes. So let's just see some classification of dyes. How we classify these dyes, right? That thing we shall see. So we classify dyes One is based on application of fibers, and the second classification is based on chemical constitution we can call, right? Chemical constitution of dye, and based on application of fiber and dye, right? So that thing we shall see. So first let me give what are the things comes under these things, right? So one is, see here, first we can call these dyes as direct dye also we can call, or we simply call substantive dye, right? So direct dye or substantive dye. And the second one which we talk is, we have got this acidic dye and basic dye. We shall study one by one, right? Just I am giving you the list which are the different dyes we come across. And the next one is this adjective dye, or we can call simply as mordant dye, right? And the next one is developed dye, or simply we can call ingrain dye, right? And the last one is nothing but wet dye. We will discuss what are these, everything we shall discuss, right? Wet dye. And here chemical constituents means it, we discuss about like a different constituent in dye. So some dyes will have azo group, right? So those are called azo dyes. Azo dyes will be there because it has got azo functional group. Similarly, if a dye contains this nitroso, we call it as nitroso dye. Similarly, we have got nitro dye, right, based on constituents. So we have got this phthalines, right? So these are the different dyes, right? So let us see one by one, right? Now let us discuss about this direct or substantive dye, right? So this is the topic which are we going to discuss now. That is nothing but direct or substantive dye. So what are these direct or substantive dye? Here what we do, see here, I won't give definition, you just write what I explain, understanding that you should write. So in direct dye or substantive dye, what we take, first we take the fabric, to this directly we add a dye, right? The process of adding directly this dye to this fabric is called as direct dyeing method. The process is called as direct dyeing method, or we can also call it as substantive dyeing method. Method means it is process. What the process? We add this dye directly to the fabric, so that that fabric gets colored, right? So this is nothing but direct dye. So here some limitations are there. So here the fabric should be animal fabric. So animal fabric, I hope you understand, it should contain wool or silk, like that. For this, if we treat with dyes, then we get a colored fabric, that is nothing but this substantive dyes, right? So only animal fabric will give this reaction, right? Only animal fabric will do this direct dyeing method, this process. And these plants, or we can call it them as vegetable fabrics, right? Here see, this vegetable fabric, for examples like cotton, right? Cotton and artificial silk, these never give this method, right? So that's the thing you need to remember. So this direct dyeing method or this substantive dyeing method is given only by animal fabrics, where we take enamel fabric, to that we add directly the dye and we get a colored fabric, right? So this process is called dyeing process, direct dyeing method we are called, or we can also call it as substantive dyeing method. I hope you understood it, right? And the next process, next comes which one I have explained. I have explained this acidic dye, acid dye we can call, and this basic dye. So this is also very simple. Just I will give you for example which I have talked above only. This picric acid. Picric acid means it contains phenol group and NO2 groups. 2, 4, 6, 3 NO2 groups are there. So we simply call it as picric acid, or we call it as 2,4,6 trinitrophenol. That is nothing but our picric acid. So this is the correct name, but this we call it as commonly we call like this picric acid, right? So I have told this is orange color. And if you treat this with base, see here, base OH minus, base means it contains OH minus, it will take this proton H. So it means this H is what? Acidic. This H is acidic. So this picric acid is a good example for this acid dye. Afterwards what happens? See here, let me write. So I'll get this phenoxide, O minus will be there, and here NO2. Here also NO2, 3 NO2 are there, right? So it was orange, I mean yellow in color, right? Sorry, I wrote it orange, it should be yellow in color. But when I treat with base, it becomes this phenoxide ion, 2,4,6 trinitrophenol ion. So this will be little dark yellow, I can write, or simply I can write orange color, right? So this is called acidic dye because it has got acid group. Here H is a acidic group, right? So that kind of dyes are called acidic dyes. So basic dyes means those will be having groups like C, R means one benzene ring, something will be there like this, and here NH2 ammonia groups will be there, right? So these groups, the dyes which contain NH2 groups are called basic dyes, right? Only this is the thing, it is there, right? I hope you got it, right? Further we shall discuss this mordant dye, right? The third one, right? So we shall see about this mordant dye. So what are these mordant dye, or this is also called as adjective dyes. So what this mordant dye or adjective dye, let us see that. So here what happens, see, let me explain here. So I have fabric, to this I will directly add dye. So you will get a thing, what colored fabric will get, but it is not resistant to water or soap, or it may be light. It is not resistant. So to enhance the property, like to enhance it, to make it stable, we use some intermediate like substance that we call it as mordant. So what this mordant does, see here, that I will explain. So this fabric has more affinity to this mordant, and in turn this mordant has more affinity to dye. So what happens is that I will take a fabric, see, let us take, this is a fabric, on that I will add mordant, right? These are mordant. So these mordant attach firmly to this fabric. Why it attach? Because fabric has more affinity to this mordant, right? Further I have dye, see here, this is my dye means colored substance, right? So when I treat this fabric plus mordant to this dye, the mordant will attack to this dye very firmly, because of which what happens is that I'll get this cloth like this, which holds this dye very strongly because of these mordants which I am showing with blue marker, right? So this will be resistant to water, soap, and light. So this process of dyeing is called mordant dyeing method, or simply we can call it as adjective dyeing method. So process is called, I have told, dye is called mordant dye or adjective dye. But the process of dyeing is called as mordant dyeing method or adjective dyeing method. So you see the spelling dyeing, dyeing, that is the dyeing method, right? I hope you understood it, right? So let us see what are the different things are there, right? So let me give you few examples here. So here, see, if my fabric is there and it is acidic, not fabric, yeah, I should not tell that fabric. Let me tell you, like, I will explain like this. See here. So I have dye and it is acidic, right? I hope you got it. So I have acidic dye. So the mordant should be basic, right? So this mordant is there, right? It should be basic, because we know that acid base reaction will be very strong, and the combination will be very good, right? I will give you the example, then you will get understand. So if my dye is acidic, see, if my dye is acidic, my mordant should be basic, so that they hold them very strongly, right? Then I will get uh, these two things. I will add on fabric and I will get this color. Fabric gets color. So let us see one example. So I will take this example. See, alizarin. Alizarin. So it is the example for this dye. What kind of dye? Modern dye. Example for modern dye, if they ask, you need to give this alizarin. So this alizarin is there, right? It is acidic dye. Acidic dye. So I have to add some mordant. So I will use mordant like, see here, chromium, aluminium, zinc, iron. So these metals are there, right? So these will be little basic. So the combination of this acidic dye, that is alizarin, and this basic substance will be very strong, very strong. Because so they will form a strong. Then we add fabric, so we get a colored substance, right? So let us see how the things happens, right? So I will take this alizarin, right? I hope you got it. If let me take one more example. If I have this basic, see here, if I have this basic dye, then the mordant should be acidic, right? For example, we use, if I have this basic dye, I will take this mordant to be acidic. So example of the of this acidic mordant are this one, tannin. Tannin is a acidic mordant, or sometimes we use this tannic acid only, right? So these acts as acidic dyes. So then we add this fabric and we get a colored cloth or colored fabric, right? So this process of dyeing is called modern dyeing method, right? So let us see how the things happens. So let me take this acidic dye that I have called it as alizarin, right? Alizarin. These things you need to remember, right? So I will use the mordant. I have told ions. We take those ions. So let me give the ions like mordants, like basic mordant here are Al3 plus, right? Cr3 plus, Sn2 plus, Sr2 plus, right? Ba2 plus, Mg2 plus, Fe2 plus, Fe3 plus. So we use ions which are basic in character, right? Because this alizarin is acidic in nature. So I have kept this alizarin constant, but I have changed mordant. First time I have used aluminum, chromium ions, I have used tin ions, Sr ions, barium ions, magnesium, iron 2 plus, iron 3 plus. So I have used ferrous, ferric, everything. So color, I get different colors here when I change these mordants, right? Because dye I have kept same alizarin. So different colors I'll get. When I use the mordant aluminum with same alizarin, I'll get this rose red color. Rose red color. If I change this mordant to chromium, then it becomes sear, brownish red, right? Simply I'm going to write for all the things, right? So as I change the mordant, I'm going to get different color to that fabric. So tin when I use, I'll get red. This red violet I will get. Color you no need to remember, but it's my duty to explain everything, right? How, why that color change happens, because of we change mordant, the color is changed. That thing you need to remember, right? No need to remember the exact color. It will be violet, it will be blue, it will be black, it will be brown. No need to remember like that, right? Just you should know the theory, not this memory purpose, right? So I hope this you understood, right? So same dye, that is alizarin, with different mordant, it will give different color. That you please note it down, note that point, right? So I am not going to give that, right? You just note it. Should I give? Let me write same alizarin, that is same dye with different mordant, I will get different color, right? So this thing you make it, note it down, right? Further, so how this happen? So let me give you the structure of alizarin. About alizarin in further we will discuss it neatly, how we synthesize it, how it will react, some properties, everything we shall see. But let me give you the structure of this alizarin, right? So this is the structure of alizarin. See here, simple it is. Benzene like this. Here double bond O is there, and here OH, phenolic OH are there, right? So because of this, these see here, these protons are there, right? Because of which these are acidic. So this is the structure of alizarin. So alizarin I have told it as acidic dye, right? Why it is acidic dye? Because it has got acidic proton H. These protons are acidic. So what happens? Here I have got this fabric. See here, here fabric. Fabric means it can be anything, animal or plant. Here they will be having like OH like this, right? So fabric will be there. So if I combine this directly, alizarin, this dye and this fabric, if I combine directly, here see, here also OH hydrogen bond may happen, but this will be very weak. H bonding will be very weak. So interaction, these interaction will be very weak. Interaction is very weak. Because of this weak interaction, these are not resistant to water, soap or light, right? So to make them permanently, to have the strong interaction, what we do, see here, just I'll show. I have told we add some mordant, right? So I will remove all these things. Let me remove here. So I will add mordant here. So what kind of mordant? I have told basic mordant we have, as alizarin is a acidic dye, we add a basic mordant. Here I have used aluminum. Al3 plus we will take like this, right? So because we know that AlOH thrice is a base, good base, right? Metal hydroxides are very strong base. We know that. So aluminum hydroxide are strong bases only. Here it will be, aluminum will be in +3 oxidation state. Like that you can remember. So what it will do? It will form a coordinate bond with this fabric like this, and also with alizarin, because of which it forms a compound which is very stable. I will write it below here. See, simply I will write how it will form a complex like. So this is our alizarin. Here OH is there, and this double bond O and single O. what we'll do here, we have aluminum here, coordinate bond will have here, right, covalent bond is there, and here O is there, and here O is there, which is attached to our fabric. This is our fabric, and this interaction is very strong, because of which it is very resistant to all water, light, everything, right? So this is about Mordaunt method. I hope I explained it nicely, right? I don't know whether it is 3 or 4. Let us put it 4, right? I hope it will be 4. Yeah. So next one is developed dye, or it is also called as ingrained dye. So what is this ingrained or developed dye, right? Let us see that. So here what we do, see here, diazotization reaction, you know, I hope, right? First let me explain that diazotization reaction, then I will explain about this process, right? So what we have, see here, this is our aniline, right? To this I will do diazotization. So what I will do, NaNO2 in presence of HCl, I will maintain temperature 0 to 5 degrees Celsius. So I get this benzene diazonium chloride, N triple bond N plus and Cl minus. So it is benzene diazonium chloride, right? BDC we can call it as simply, right? So it will be a solution, colorless solution, and we maintain it 0 to 5 degree, it can be stable. Then what I will do, I will take my fabric, one side I will take this in a bucket, I will take this phenol, here phenol is there, let us assume, right? So I will make this fabric to phenol, I will just immerse and I will remove, right? To that I will add this one, BDC, this above one, BDC, benzene diazonium chloride. So now what I will get, this is my fabric, it became orange color. So this process of dyeing is called developed dyeing method or ingrained dyeing method. So I am telling the process or the method of dyeing like this is called developed dyeing method or ingrained dyeing method, right? I hope you can understand the process. Whenever I use the word process means how we do this process, that is we call it as ingrained dyeing method or developed dyeing method. I hope you got it. So here you may ask, sir, how you got this orange color, right? So it is simple reaction. These reactions you have studied in a lab also you will do. So let me give you that. So BDC you understood, I hope, right? So this is our BDC, benzene diazonium chloride, right? So Cl minus will be there here. So it acts as electrophile. Why it act as electrophile? Because it is electron deficient, right? And I have phenol here. Phenol means I have taken my fabric, right, and I have immersed that my fabric into this phenol, right? So I have phenol, so I can draw like this here. So here what happens, so this phenol will be having this pi bond, so through this pi bond it will give its electron density to this diazo compound, right? So I'll get this one, see here. So electrophilic substitution reaction, simple, these things you have studied. So N double bond N, right? Now it became nitrogen, became neutral, and here I have like this OH, here hydrogen is there, and this carbon gets positive charge. That positive charge will be stabilized by the lone pairs and this pi bonds, right? So further rearomatization is the driving force. This proton will be removed as H plus, right? And I will get this compound, right? Can you name it, right? So this is the orange color. The orange color is due to this electrophilic substitution reaction between phenol and this benzene diazonium chloride, right? So it is also, so this is how we will get this product, right? I hope you understood. Did I leave anything? Yeah, no, I have explained everything, right? So see here, it is dye because it is orange in color and it can attach nicely to this a fabric, because this hydrogen is acidic, so it acts as acidic dye, right? So this is acidic dye, it can easily holds good to this fabric, right? And also within this dye you can see this N2 group, right? So we call it as azo group. So sometimes this dye is also called as azo dye, because azo dye means the dye which contains azo group, simple thing, right? So this dye is also called as azo dye. I hope you understood, right? So this process of dyeing is called as developed dyeing method or in-grain dyeing method. What we do in this method, we take our fabric, we immerse it in phenol. To this we will add BDC, benzene diazoxide chloride, and we get that fabric which is orange colored. This is how we do the reaction. I hope you understood. So this all process is called developed dyeing method or in-grain dyeing method, right? The next one, let us discuss about this wet dyeing method. First, that is wet dye. Let us see. So wet dye means this wet dye is there, right? It is water insoluble, water insoluble, right? So what we do, we treat it with some alkali sodium bisulfate. It acts as a reducing agent. So in alkali medium we treat this wet dyeing, so we convert into reduced dye, reduced dye. So this reduced dye is water soluble. So this reduced dye, we simply call it as, it has got one more name, that is leuco compound, leuco compound, right? This thing you need to remember. So what we do, first we convert this wet dye and we reduce it using alkali sodium bisulfate, and it will be converted to leuco compound which is water soluble. So we make it soluble in water, water soluble. Further what we do, to this I will add my cloth, and I will soak it. Soak means I hope you understand. Soak means immerse. We immerse, or we can call it as soak. Just we soak it and we remove out, and we keep it for drying, not dyeing, drying, air dry, right? So what happens, this is reduced form, I have told it is reduced form. When I keep it for drying in presence of oxygen, air will be there, right? So what happens, the reduced form will be again oxidized. So this oxidized form will have colored. In this way we dye this. So this process of dyeing is called wet dyeing method. I hope you understood, right? So nothing, first we take the compound, we reduce it, we make soluble, then we immerse it, and we put our fabric into it and we immerse it, and just we remove and keep it for drying in presence of air. So the reduced form will be again oxidized to this oxidized form, because of which this oxidized form will have color. Because of this color our fabric get color. So this process is called wet dyeing method. So these were the classification of dyes based on application of fibers, and also I have classified the dyes based on constitution, right? Chemical constitution, right? So constitution means one example I have given above, azo dye, right? So where the azo group will be there, right? First one, let me write azo dye. Azo dye means a dye having azo group, azo group, azo group will be there. So this azo group act as a chromophore. This chromophore and these oxochromes, these we have studied in UV spectroscopy, right? But with this chapter also, as I move further with the videos, I will explain about this azochromes, right? Everything I am going to explain, right? And chromophore, right? So this azo group act as a chromophore, because see, above I have given you the example, right? N double bond N, and here also benzene ring, and here I have benzene ring. If it was phenol, then I have called it as it will be orange dye, right? So this is the example you can take for this azo dye, right? So if I have, instead of this OH, if I had this NH2, it will be orange, sorry, yellow dye. See, instead of OH, I have this NH2, so it will be yellow dye, right? So here you, in both the cases, you can see this azo group. So this azo group acts as a chromophore. How it acts? See here. Simply, if I want to write it neatly, see here. So chromophores are like organic compound which has got pi bonds, right? So see here, in H2 I have, everywhere I can put double bonds like this, right? Here also double bonds, double bond. So what this chromophore do? They will enhance this resonance, because this resonance is enhanced, right? Because the enhancement in resonance is more, the gap between this homo and lumo gap keeps on decreasing. So it keeps on decreasing. So gap is decreasing means energy is decreasing. Energy is decreasing means wavelength is increasing. So wavelength lies between like 400 nanometer to 700 nanometer, which is our visible region, because of which these dyes are colored, because the color we observe only from 400 to 700 nanometer, right? Sometimes we can call it as 800 nanometer. That's the reason, 400 to 800. So the color we can observe because our eyes are sensitive to only those colors, right? So because of this enhanced resonance, the energy gap between homo and lumo is decreased, because of which we are able to see this color, whether this color is orange, whether it is yellow, whether it is red, right? That thing. So this is azo dyes. About this I will explain with the chapter. We will explain, we will study more of the things, right? Even we come across those homo, lumo, chromophores, oxochromes, everything we will come across, right? No need to worry. So simply, if I know, nitroso dye means the dye which contain nitroso group. Nitroso group means you should be able to write. So that dye will have this functional group, or I can call it as chromophore. Chromophore. This chromophore, it will have nitroso means NO, nitroso. So the third dye, if I want to call, it is nitro dye. So nitro dye means it has this NO2 group. So this act as a chromophore. About this chromophores, again I will explain, right? No need to worry. If you haven't studied that UV visible spectroscopy, again we will study about this. So this thalins means the dye which contain this phthalic like structure will be there, right? Phthalic anhydride. So it will be phthalic anhydride. I hope you know this, right? So this whenever it is there in the dye, that dye is called thalins, right? So it is thalins, LEINS, right? So example for this is phenolphthalein, phenolphthalein, right? So this is the good example for this. I'm going to explain about this phenolphthalein, how we synthesize it, what are the things, that thing I'm going to explain you. So for this nitro dye, same picric acid you can take as a example. Picric acid, because it has got 3 nitro group. See here, picric acid means OH will be there, here one nitro, and here one nitro. So 2,4,6 trinitrophenol is called picric acid. It is a good example for this nitro dye, because it contains NO2 group, right? Nitroso dye, right? So is there any example? The nitroso dye, the example they have given is cambin Y. So this group contain NO group it contains, right? And this I have explained this azo dye, right? So many things. Again, there are so many azo dyes, like a few more example. If I want to give Congo red, it is a dye which contain azo group. About this Congo red we are going to study, right? So methyl orange, these are the dye which contain this azo group, right? I think I have given you sufficient examples, right? So with this we shall end this. In next class, let us see few more things. Till then, take care and have a great